How's it going, everybody? As you can tell by the title, I'm going to be doing a first round mock draft for 2024. Once again, there will be no trades. Maybe that will happen in a future video, but for now, I'm going to stick with no trades. And without further ado, let's get started. All right, so with the Bears on the clock, there are certainly options here. I don't think there's like many options as far as who would go number one. Most likely it's going to be Caleb Williams, could be Drake May, could be Marvin Harrison. I do expect it to be Drake May, and that is who I'm going to be drafting here. Um, I think that there's certainly a possibility where Washington would want to trade up to get Caleb Williams with that Cliff Kingsbury connection. I don't see Washington doing that just because I feel like with how good Drake May is, it wouldn't make a lot of sense to do that because you're giving up a lot of picks just to move up for one guy who is also highly regarded. So I'm going to be taking Drake May there with Washington. But before I keep going here, Marvin Harrison could certainly go one to Chicago. I don't think that will happen because I do expect Justin Fields to be traded. And I would like to throw that out there that I think he'll end up in Pittsburgh or Atlanta. I could be way off, but I just want to throw that out there. But I think Washington certainly has to go with a quarterback, and I think Drake May would be a perfect fit there. As we get to number three, um, there's not a ton of options, I guess. Again, at three, there's a number of like top options here though, with Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, Joe Alt, but I am probably going to go Jaden Daniels here. Um, it's kind of boring because I feel like that's where most people are taking him, but Marvin Harrison would certainly make a lot of sense if they decide to pursue a quarterback in free agency. But I think Jaden Daniels is probably the most likely option there. And then with Marvin Harrison still available here at four, I'm going to send him to Arizona. They need another wide receiver one, to pair with Marquise Brown. Give Kyler Murray some top targets. He hasn't really had that. Marquise Brown has been solid, but he's not a number one receiver. And then at numbers five here to the Chargers, there's a couple options here. I could see Malik Neighbors. I could see Brock Bowers. I could see Joe Alt. Um, Certainly Olo Fashanu, but I am probably going to go with Joe Alt. I just think they, I think they're going to go tackle. They want someone to pair with Rashawn Slater. They need to protect Herbert. They could certainly go wide receiver or tight end again with Brock Bowers, but I think that they would be better off with a tackle. So I'm going to take Joe Alt. Now, reasoning for why wide receiver would make sense there is because Keenan Allen is a free agent. If not this year, I believe next year maybe. Mike Williams also a free agent next year, and then I think Josh Palmer's also a free agent. So all their top wide receivers are going to be free agents within the next 2 years. So that could certainly make some sense. Um, and then I'm going to go with Rome Odunze to the Giants. Now, yes, Malik Neighbors is still available, but I would prefer Rome Odunze over Malik Neighbors. I just think that Odunze's more wide receiver one material. I don't know if that makes sense, but I prefer Rome Odunze over Malik Neighbors. Obviously, it could go either way. I'm not ruling Malik Neighbors out in that situation either, but I do think that Rome Odunze should be the pick there. And now, as we move to number seven with the Titans, I'm going to go Brock Bowers. He has said that he wants to play for the Titans. Now, that doesn't mean a whole lot, but I think if they could get a tight end like him to pair with D Hop and I guess Traylon Burks, I mean, they could use another wide receiver. It could go tackle, but I'm going to go Brock Bowers. I like that pick there. And then number eight. Now, Atlanta's certainly in the QB market, but I see them maybe going the veteran route because they are, in my opinion, a quarterback away from being a contender. Maybe not Super Bowl contender, but certainly playoff contenders. I think this might sound crazy, but I think that Russell Wilson ends up in Atlanta. I think that would be a good fit there. So I'm not going to take a quarterback here. So I am going to go probably defense here. let's see. I could go Byron Murphy. I think that would make some sense. But I think I am going to go corner. And I'm not going to go Cooper DeJean. I'm not going to go Nate Wiggins. I am going to go Terrion Arnold out of Alabama. All the talks about Kool-Aid McKinstry, he's got a cool name. I agree. But Terrion Arnold is better. He's the best corner in the draft, in my opinion. So I'm going to take him there with Atlanta, pair him with AJ Terrell. Then now to Chicago at 9. I'm going to go with a wide receiver to pair with Caleb Williams. I'm taking Malik Nabers. Now, it's certainly possible that a team trades up if he's still available at 9, but again, no trades. So I am going to take him at number 9 to Chicago. I think that would be a perfect pairing. It would suck as a Packers fan, but who knows? Maybe their careers don't pan out as most players do in Chicago. So now to the Jets. I am going to go Olu Fashanu. It's certainly possible that he ends up going top 5. In this case, obviously, it falls to 10. But I still think that he's certainly, him and Joe Alt, in my opinion, are 1A, 1B. But I think he would be very good in New York. The Jets certainly need to protect Aaron Rodgers after playing 4 snaps last year. So I think with Minnesota here, this is certainly a spot where a quarterback could go. It depends on what they do in free agency, whether they bring back Kirk Cousins or not. But I think maybe O-line, their defense is pretty mid. So I think I am going to go corner here, and I'm going to take Nate Wiggins, who, in my opinion, is the second best corner in this draft. I think he's a very good player. I think the Vikings certainly need defensive help, so that's where I'm going to go there. And then the Broncos. This is also a spot for a quarterback, and I am going to take a quarterback here. Now, this might surprise some people. Maybe not. The quarterback quarterback class is obviously very top heavy. There's the top 3 guys, and then there's the next 3 and a gap. So I think there is a significant gap between the top 3 and then the next 3. But I think in this situation, with next year's draft class being kind of weak, I think teams would certainly want to pick a quarterback this year rather than risk next year. So I'm going to take J.J. McCarthy here at 12. The Raiders could also use a quarterback, but I don't think that is the route they will go. I think that could also be another veteran quarterback spot in free agency, whether it be Russell Wilson or I've heard Justin Fields, but I don't see that happening since they brought in Luke Getsy, the Bears offensive coordinator. The Raiders had mentioned that they don't think Getsy was a problem, which indicates that Fields was a problem. So I don't think that that's a situation where Fields would end up. But a quarterback could certainly end up here depending on how free agency pans out. But I think I am going to go D-line here with Byron Murphy. I like Byron Murphy a lot. I would love him in Green Bay, but I don't see him falling. Now, I did end up getting him in a Packers mock draft that I had a couple weeks ago, but I don't think he falls as far as maybe he did in that draft, so I have him going there at 13. And then the Raiders at 14. As always, they're in cap space trouble. Seems like they're never in the positive there. So let's see. I think I'm going to go O-line here with Tyrese Fuaga. He's a very good run blocker. I think, obviously, the Saints with Derek Carr, they want to throw the ball, but they have Alvin Kamara. So certainly could be a very good pickup there, play tackle. And then with the Colts, this could be a wide receiver spot, depending on who's available. In this case, Brian Thomas available. 15 feels a little high for him, in my opinion. But ultimately, I do think they will probably target a wide receiver, whether it's early or maybe second round. Just because Michael Pittman is a free agent. I do think they'll probably get him back, but I don't know exactly how that pans out. So if they don't get Pittman back, they're certainly going to need to draft someone or sign someone, but I expect them to get him back. So probably going to go O-line or D-line here. I've been looking at Dallas Turner, Jared Verse. Jackson Powers Johnson's certainly a good pickup as well, but I think I am going to go Dallas Turner. He's a guy I like a lot. Would be able to pair up with DeForest Buckner on that defensive line, so I think that would be very solid for them. Now at 16 with Seattle. O-line is certainly where I'm going to go, and I'm not going to waste any time going to Jackson Powers Johnson here. They certainly need some interior offensive line, and I think he's a perfect fit there at 16. Jacksonville is another team that could use some interior O-line. They could also use a DB, and I think that's where I'm going to go, as this is a very DB-heavy class. Cooper DeJean, Quinion Mitchell, those are certainly guys who could go, I think, anywhere between 10 and 30. They're both very good players. I would love Green Bay to get one of them. Maybe we'll see if that happens in this class, depending on how it pans out. Kool-Aid McKinstry is another guy who's available. So I think I'm going to go with another offensive lineman. Let's just check the interior guys available right now. Should be Grant Barton, I believe, should be available. The guard class honestly isn't great. It's the tackle class that's very good. So let's see. Graham Barton is listed as a tackle, but he very well could end up playing guard. So I think that's where I'm going to go here. I don't think he'll play tackle in the NFL. I do expect him to play guard, so that's why I'm drafting him there. I'm drafting him as a guard, not a tackle. So as we move on here to 18 with the Bengals, this is another tackle spot. Keep Joe Burrow healthy, which has been a struggle. Not all of that's offensive line's fault, but I am going to go J.C. Latham. I really like him. Could go higher, but this tackle class is so stacked that he falls to 18. 19 here with the Rams. O-line is certainly another big need here. Could go linebacker, but I don't know how many linebackers will sneak into the first round, if any, honestly. So I'm not going to go linebacker here. Looking more at DB and O-line. Maybe actually with Jared Verse available. Could go him. Could go Latu out of UCLA. So I'm probably leaning towards, I guess Jerzon Newton's available too. This one's a little bit tough in my opinion. Maybe we go tackle, but yeah, this one's honestly a little bit tough. The Rams overperformed this year. Their defense was not supposed to be very good. They weren't locked down or anything crazy, but they were solid enough to get them to the playoffs. Amarius Mims could go here, but he's obviously had his injury issues. Could go Tyler Guyton, Jordan Morgan even. Troy Futanu, not a bad player either. So you certainly got some good options here at tackle. Let's just go check out the D line real quick. Yeah, Jerzon Newton, certainly tempting here. And I am going to take him. Yeah, I think pairing him with Aaron Donald would be a very good fit. Could have gone Jared Verse. Could have gone offensive line. That one's really a toss-up. I like Jerzon Newton. Him going to the Rams there makes a lot of sense. Then we got the Steelers, another team who could go with O-line. The interior O-line class, like I already mentioned, is not great, so I'm probably not going to go O-line. Their tackles are decent. So let's look at the DBs that are still available. And I think I am going to go Cooper DeJean. Obviously, I had mentioned I would like the Packers to draft him if possible, but in this case, he is not going to be available. So now, as we move on to 21 with the Dolphins, let's go to tackle, as it always seems to be a need for them. And I'm going to take Troy Futano. Amarius Mims, very good player, but his injuries are probably going to push him down the draft board a little bit. So I am going to let him drop a little bit more, take Troy 21 to the Dolphins, and then now with the Eagles. The Eagles is a spot that I like a wide receiver here. I'm going to take Brian Thomas. Obviously, him and Malik Neighbors formed a very good duo for Heisman winner, almost at MVP, Heisman winner at LSU. So, um, Daniels obviously performed very well with them, and I think Brian Thomas could be a good deep threat for Jalen Hurts in Philly. So that's where I'm going to send him. He could have, I very well might have taken him at Houston if he didn't get taken by Philly there. So let's see what I want to do here. I mean, this could be a spot for Troy Franklin, another wide receiver, and I actually like that there. Yeah, the Texans, very good season with a lot of young guys, rookie head coach, rookie quarterback. Um, they had the defensive rookie of the year and offensive rookie of the year in C.J. Stroud, Will Anderson. So I think just keep adding to that young team. Pair Troy Franklin with Tank Dell. And I think this team could be a playoff team once again. The Jaguars were expected to win the division. Texans came in and stole it from them. I think now that might be the Texans' division to lose for years to come. So just keep adding to that offense and could be very good for the future. Now with Dallas, this could be a tackle spot with Tyron Smith getting up there in age, injuries. I believe he's a free agent. I do believe he also wants to go back, so certainly could end up staying in Dallas. But this is a spot where I'm going to go defensive line, or offensive line. So it's going to take someone in the trenches. I do like Jared Verse here. Now, maybe Latu's a better fit just because he's slightly more of an interior guy in a sense than Jared Verse. So I think this one's a little bit tough. I am going to go Latu, actually. I'm going to go Latu. Just because I like his versatility on that defensive line. So now as we move to 25 with Green Bay, this might have been a little bit biased, but Quinion Mitchell falls at 25, and he's headed to Green Bay. Quinion Mitchell is easily my favorite corner in this draft class. Very physical, would fit that Green Bay defense well with Jeff Hafley coming in, and him and Jair Alexander, just blank for a second, they would form a very good duo at corner. Packers need to fix their DB room right now. They certainly Eric Stokes could be that guy. Carrington Valentine could be that guy, but Quinion Mitchell would be a perfect fit. One of those other two guys could play slot, so or maybe even Jair in the slot. Who knows? But I want Quinion Mitchell, and that's what's happening here at 25. So at 26, Tampa, as they hope to bring back Baker Mayfield, you could go O-line, help him out there. But I think with Jared Verse still available, I'm going to keep him in state, head into Tampa. So now at 27 with the Cardinals, this could be a spot where Kool-Aid McKinstry goes. They really have holes all over the place, honestly. So they got Marvin Harrison already. Now maybe you look defense. Yeah, they're kind of a crap show over there. So I think I am going to go with Kool-Aid McKinstry. They need a lot of talent, and they're lacking talent at this point. So Kool-Aid McKinstry, Marvin Harrison, pretty good duo there for them. Now to the Bills at 28. This would have been a spot where I would have taken maybe Troy Franklin or another wide receiver. And I do think that wide receiver is probably their biggest need. Maybe Ladd McConkey at 28 is a bit of a stretch, but I am going to take him here. Just the way that the board fell out, I do think that Ladd McConkey makes it into the first round at 28 to the Bills. Now with the Lions at 29. Again, with a stacked corner class, you could see another corner go here. Detroit's secondary is not great. So I'm going to take Ennis Rakestraw Jr., who is apparently a huge Jair Alexander fan. So it would be cool maybe if he makes it to Green Bay. But maybe I'm lying. Maybe that was Kamari Lassiter. Maybe I'm getting confused. But anyway, one of the two. Him or Kamari Lassiter. One of them are huge Jair Alexander fans, so I wouldn't mind if they ended up in Green Bay as well. But instead, Ennis Rakestraw Jr. heads to the division rival Lions. And now we have the Ravens on the clock at 30. I do think that probably, I guess D-line could be a big need here if Justin Madubuike ends up leaving in free agency. Another wide receiver could help as well. You never know what's going to go on with their offensive line. They could lose Geno Stone in free agency. They already lost a bunch of their defensive coaches, so I think I am going to look at tackle here. Not, let's see, maybe we go Chris Braswell. Yeah, I like Chris Braswell here. Let's see, maybe is there any other interior guys I would take? No, Chris Braswell to Baltimore at 30. Again, might be a bit of a reach, but I like that pick, and he's headed to Baltimore. Now with the 49ers at 31, I think O-line's probably where they're going to go. You want another guy opposite of Trent Williams. They could certainly go corner, but at this point, all the top corners are gone. So, again, I think that I just looked and I just saw Keon Coleman. Now, I do think I should have probably taken him over Ladd McConkey, but I guess I didn't realize he was still available. But anyway, 49ers, O-line, I'm taking Tyler Guyton. In this case, Amarius Mims falls out of the first round. We'll see if that happens in April, but I think it's certainly a possibility. At 32, as I just mentioned, Keon Coleman's still available, and he is no longer available because he's headed to Kansas City. The Chiefs managed to win the Super Bowl despite their very mid wide receiver room. So I do think bringing him in there would help out a lot. Overall, pretty solid draft class. Maybe a couple spots where some guys would have flipped. Specifically, maybe at Buffalo at 28 there. Probably would have taken Keon Coleman. But overall, pretty solid draft class. Certainly, I might have had some hot takes. Some guys dropping in the class. Some guys going higher than expected. But overall, pretty solid draft class, as I had already said a couple times. And can't wait for April to see what really happens. But so far, pretty basic draft class. Alright, well that's all I've got for you guys today. If you enjoyed, share the video with your friends. Drop a like down below. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And if you'd like more Packers content, more NFL content, more mock drafts, subscribe. I'll be making some more Brewers content as well as the season gets started. So if you like that stuff, subscribe. And until next time, go Pack Go.